host, Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about no one is coming to save you. No one is going to save you. Nobody cares. And that's just the hard truth. Today's is going to be more real. I'm not trying to butter you guys up, but it's just the truth. That being said, I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, you guys could show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. Details will be in the description. Also, if you recognize this background, Mitchell loves Pokemon, so every now and then you're gonna see this Charizard being worn. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna have a recap, and the recap episode is going to be every day stand guard at the door of your mind, and then I will have 4 slides that I'll be talking about today. Going to share some information for you, so that way hopefully you guys could benefit from this. What's up, Shevelin? Hello. Yeah, and look, the best thing that you could do is to share this with another person that could benefit from this. Thank you. What's up, JR? What's good? Hola. All right, so recap episode. Let's get started. Every day stand guard at the door of your mind. The slide is called Mental Factory, and the reason why it is called that is because of my boy Jim Rohn. Rest in peace, Jim Rohn. So let's start out with this quote, and he says, "The mind is like a mental factory, and what you think about all day pours ingredients into this mental factory. This is what builds the economic, social, and financial fabric of your life." Jim Rohn. So, be careful what you put in, be careful what you listen to, be careful what you speak about. Be careful what you're around, your surroundings. Your environment will usually, not always, but usually beat your intentions. Usually. And the example that I gave a long time ago was, imagine being inside this freezer. If you're in this freezer and someone just gave you a whole bunch of jackets, maybe in the beginning you're gonna be nice and cozy, you're like cool as warm, but after a while you're gonna start getting cold, right? And it trumps your intentions. Now, so let's talk about things. So people who knows better knows that eating healthier with proper exercise is the way to a healthier lifestyle, right? Mental factory. You know this, okay? And what most people tend to ignore is what they pour into their mind. So they know they do things that's good for them, but they're not aware of what they are surrounded by. So imagine pouring trash in your mind all day, expecting treasures to come out. So all you do is just sit there and just watch TV, or you just watch the news. Not that the news is bad or anything, but it's very triggering. It's very anxiety provoking. And so when you start listening to that, obviously your life is going to feel a lot more anxious. You're gonna be uncertain over certain things. What's up, Sarah? Long time no see. How you doing? So yeah, obviously you're going to get some shitty ass feelings, okay? So excuse my language. But now here's the thing. So now let's put it to the side. Imagine waking up with someone that sets their mood in a very negative way. All they do is talk about negative things. They find reasons to be upset. Are they going to be good company for you? Would you want to be around that person? Most likely not. And the reason why is because it's like, look, I'm trying to enjoy life. I know life is short. I know that life is short. And we all have one destination. No, every single one of us is not going to be here one day. And that's the destination that we have, all right? And why not live a happier, healthier lifestyle? Give a good legacy maybe to your kids too as well, so that they can replicate what it's like. Mommy and daddy was always happy. Mommy and daddy always was in a good mood, even though things didn't go the right way. Heck no, too negative. You only live once. I want to enjoy my life. Exactly, right? So, example is going to the job you hate, being around the people that you don't like. Maybe you're stuck in a cubicle. There are things that you don't want to do, right? Going to this job that just for a paycheck, and then you come back home, you're like, I don't have enough time. No, it's not that you don't have enough time. You're just unmotivated. That's what you are. You're just unmotivated. You just haven't really planned yourself. You haven't planned ahead for what you want to do. Um, I talked about this too earlier. So, which is surrounding yourself with those type of people in the environment of like the whole "thank God it's Friday" mentality, so you can repeat the same thing again the next week and the next week, and it's going to happen in the next few years, right? So the first thing you should check when you go to someone's house is their library, and that was from Jim Rome. What was it? Is it mediocre people have big TVs? Um, Forgot what was the other vocabulary. Great people or something like that have big libraries, right? So what a man reads pour massive ingredients into his mental factory. So be careful, and women, but be careful who you surround yourself with, the type of people, and how they think. And how they think, whoa, it's contagious. Think about it. Who are you constantly with, or surrounding yourself, and what do you constantly think about when you're around them, and also yourself too. Now, let's go into the meat of the subject, which is no one's coming to save you. First slide is nobody cares. Nobody cares. Don't tell your problems to people. 80% don't care, and 20% are glad that you have them. So, let's just say you're in a shitty place in your life. Your life is quote unquote busy. You're constantly doing things you don't enjoy. But you're doing it because you're trying to live and survive. And I get that. I get that living, right? I get it. You there's certain things that you have to do that you don't want to do, and that's going to happen. That's just part of life. But if you constantly find yourself in that situation and you're in a shitty place and you're just doing things just to do it, and you're lonely, you start feeling bad for yourself, you feel like you're the victim, and somehow, some way, you get lucky enough to find yourself a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whoever, a partner, right? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen once you find that person? Now, what a lot of people don't think about is, oh, once I finally get this girl, I'll be happy. Or if I have somebody, I'll be happy. Once I get the job that I always wanted, that will pay me this amount, then I'll be happy. It's like, no, that would not make you happy. It's to me, it's no different than, let's just say there's a jacket that you always wanted, and you finally got the courage to, spend X amount on it, and you finally got it. The first few days, maybe first few weeks, when you're wearing it, you're like, I'm gonna hang this up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna make it look no wrinkles. And then after a while, like 4 or 5 months down the line, you're like, just put it over there. Like, yeah, it's just going to sit there, right? So to me, this life is no different when you have a partner. When you have a partner in your life. And so what's going to happen is, when you finally meet that somebody, that person is going to amplify whatever you are already inside. So life fills voids. If you are in a shitty place and that person comes into your life and then the excitement goes down, what's going to happen? You're going to be in this place where, okay, I'm not as excited to be with this person anymore. I still like being around them, but I still find myself kind of constantly being miserable. I'm just kind of upset over certain things. They're going to amplify that. And once they amplify it and you're in a bad mood, well, guess what? You're not going to be good company for that person because you're already in a miserable place. So that's one thing that I feel like not a lot of people pay a lot of attention to, is the fact that your partner or the people you're surrounded by, especially if you're going to spend a lot of time with them, they're going to amplify who you already are. So they're a self-reflection of you. So if you're miserable, they come into your life and you scam your way into their life because of this charm that you have. And it's great. I think charm is really important, and I also think having good character is also very important. But it's how you approach it, is where your intentions are. That's what's going to dictate whether or not your life is going to aim up or aim down. And be careful with those that you aim down, or be careful with those that aims down, right? Because they will drag you down. Now, if you have this front of, oh, I'm just gonna charm my way in and I'm gonna scam my way in and put up this front of I'm gonna get this person, you're only going to delay the inevitable. Um, that's all that's gonna happen. It's only gonna be delayed, and it will come. Eventually, it will come. You're going to cause a lot of problems in the future. You're not gonna be good company, and they will eventually leave. And then, whether it's leaving by resentment, and you know what, it's if they leave and it ended decent, then good. But most of the time, people don't take rejection well, especially if you're already feeling bad about yourself, like you're the victim. I see you, Sarah, but thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. So now, this is what happens. You find yourself in this vicious cycle, and then you live your life, and your life continues, and then you continue to bitch, and you continue to moan, and then you're asking why my life sucks, and it's going to continue to the day you die, unless you change. And luckily, if you're here and you're watching this or you're listening to this, whether on the live or the replay, luckily you're here. And like the great Jim Rohn said, you're not a tree. You're not a tree. So move, do something, change your mind, right? You have the ability to do that. And I used to think that, and this is me back then, I used to think that being in a relationship will make me happier. I was like, oh, I am unhappy now. So if I were to be with somebody else or someone that cares about me, then I'll be happy. It didn't turn out that way. Okay. But the thing was, it wasn't until I put the responsibility to myself to better myself, and that is when I started becoming better company for other people. And then I started noticing different things, like, you know what, I don't want to be around that person, not as much, even when we used to hang out a lot. And it's because I've realized something, that hey, maybe it was me that caused that, and I put the responsibility and accountability on me. Right? So think of this like karma, right? What you put out is what you get back. So be careful what you think about. And also, nobody cares about your problem. You are the only person that cares about your problem. And so it is your job to fix it. Now, if I were to try to help you, lift you back up. In the meantime, it might be helpful. It might get you jump started. But what it could also do is it will also condition you. It will also condition you to, I might, every time I need help, let me just go ask somebody else, or let me go ask Mitchell. Like, no, nobody. That's why this is called self-reliance. You have to help yourself. Sarah, what'd you say? I care about my problem. Damn. Yeah. And everybody should care about your own problem. Your own. But here, let me continue on. All right, let me continue on. Now, let's see. So nobody cares. So develop a better thinking habit. Develop better thinking habits, and that's why I always say, like, give yourself an audit. How do you feel when you're on by yourself, on your own? And I don't expect you to always be happy and joyful. Okay, like, you're going to have times, even when you're by yourself, where you're like, you know what? Things might not be exactly where I want it to be right now, but it's okay. I know I could get myself out of this situation. Yes, you have to rely on yourself. You can rely and on someone else. It's the same as love yourself before someone else. Exactly. And so if you find those type of people that constantly always seek other people to talk to on the phone just so that they can vent. Look, venting is really important. It's better than bottling it up. But if all they do is only just talk about how they feel so that they can feel better about themselves and not do anything about it, that's no different than posting a nice quote on your Instagram, Facebook, whatever story, and forgetting about it. You're not really doing anything. That's not really self-help. That's just temporary satisfaction. So it's better than, drinking alcohol and falling asleep and then waking up and doing it. But it's not really helping you out. So that's not real self-help. Okay? So that's why you got to think Be better at developing better thinking habits. Um, talk about disaster. Relied on someone. Not knowing. Okay. Tell me more about that as I go down this list. Okay. So, in my previous slide, I talked about nobody cares and also no one's coming to save you. But life has strange ways of stepping aside when you say, I had enough. Great Jim Rohn. You're going to hear a lot about him. So, here's the thing. But what I can say is the next person you meet, or the next book you pick up, or the podcast that you're listening to, it might change your life, and it might change your life, right? They won't change your life. Like, I can't change your life. There's no way. I can't change your life. But I could be there to maybe help give you this little push, this motivation to inspire you. But don't depend on me to inspire you. You have to do this on your own. You have to want it more than what I'm offering, if that makes any sense. Let's see. Greg. Agreed, cousin. No one will save us. Exactly. Okay. He looked off, beat up, bragged about having money. Okay, yeah. Red flag number 1. Anybody that brags about what they have and not who they are, it means that they're using that as a front. Yeah. So, be careful with those. Let's see. Okay. He had maids in India, drives here and there. Okay, but he's I'm not gonna get too in detail with that. I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to be mean. All right. About how you own many knives. Okay. So he cuts things. He cuts a lot. You might have a nice piece of meat in front of you, right? This nice piece of meat on your plate, or you might get hurt. You gotta be careful. All right, so let me move on. So like I said, I wasn't always good company. I was not always good company, and by default, I will talk about things that's kind of unsettling. It's kind of upsetting for other people to hear, and it doesn't really sit well in the mind. So when someone asks me how I'm doing before, I would be like, and sometimes I still find myself talking about it. But then when I do talk about it, I catch myself and I'm like, well, it's already too late. You already spoke about it, Mitchell. You're talking about some of these negative things that's happening. But what I do after this, I almost said doo-doo, but what I do after this is, as I'm talking about it and I catch myself, I'm like, all right, Mitchell, but you know what? Even though, thank you for listening. I'm just ranting. But, I know that I will always find a solution after this. Like, I have a solution. I have a way to figure things out. And if I don't get it right the first time, I'll figure it out. And they're like, okay, you know what? All right, well, at least it doesn't seem like you're putting everything onto that other person that, like, thank you for listening. I appreciate your ear, right? For you listening to me, and then I'm going to figure out on myself, and I don't want to put that burden on you. So yeah, unless they're more willing to, they're like, no, tell me more, then I'll be different. But eventually I'm still going to figure it out on my own. Let's see. So yeah, I wasn't always good company because I always talked about negative things. What's up, darling? Hello. Let's see. Aloha, Shevlin. Okay. Mitchell's cousin. Quite busy. I'm doing good. Let's see. I use my mom as an excuse to get out. Oh, yeah. I know a lot of people that, especially ladies, they go on a date. They're like, hey, yo, if this date doesn't go well, I'm going to text you, right? I'm going to have this pretext written already, and I'm just going to have you call me. I'll be like, oh, shit, something happened, and you got to dip out, right? Just be like, but see, that's another thing too, and I want to talk about that. If you're not enjoying that, just be like, hey, you know what? It's not going to work out. I appreciate the time that you came. Like, you could still be nice about it, but at the same time, it's like, don't try to find a way out in that by taking the easier route. Get out by just being like, look, you might not like this, but it's okay. I don't want. It's just not going to work out between us. Oh, why? And you don't owe them an explanation either, all right? You don't owe them shit. So, I just don't date. We could talk about that. We could talk about the why you don't date. All right. Now, so like I said, I was in good company. Things I said, it didn't sit well, right? And and here's also another thing too, and this was mind blowing to me, which was those who did relate to me when I did express how my negative feelings were, right? This is mind blowing. Those who related to me were just as miserable. So, the ex that I had, because I was miserable, she was miserable. So, but when things went well, it was great temporarily. But then when it didn't go well, shit went down the drain really fucking fast, right? I was I was like, "What? How we were good company, and then out of nowhere, it's just shit." It's the reason why is because we were both miserable, and we always find reasons to be upset. But when so that's why this happiness was very temporary. It was very temporary, and it only lasted as long as that moment. You know what I mean? It's because of the way I was thinking, and the way maybe I had an influence on her too, and vice versa. So so trust. I'm almost at that point. Don't give up. Don't give up. Every 10 years you might have that unicorn. You might have that unicorn, all right? One or two unicorns, if you're lucky, three. Okay, so don't give up. But continue to work on yourself. Anyways, I'm gonna continuing on. So anyways, I felt trapped in that relationship. Not only was I miserable, she was too, and good times didn't last, and I was easily bothered. So what does that mean for a guy? It means that I was not good company. Anything that upsetted me, I became this quote unquote bitch. And if you act like a bitch, she's going to treat you like a bitch. So don't act like a bitch. And and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. No surprise there. Right? So when I do find myself talking about things that upset me, I try to find a solution. I don't focus on a problem as much as I am talking about it, but I find a solution, right? Imagine going to a doctor and all you do is talk about your problems and he doesn't fix it. It's not gonna be a really great doctor for you, right? All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Hold on. Pause. Okay, let me see. Trying the medical field. Normally I don't use someone as an excuse, but I need it. Okay, so you thought he was a serial killer. That's what you thought it was. Sarah, at least you have a full purpose. Okay. My cousin goes out to pass gas instead of farting in the house. You should just let it rip. Medical field is good. Okay, it's hard out there. Dating isn't what it was before. Definitely not. Definitely not. And the thing is, it's like, and it gets more difficult because the competition is always there. But what separates you from the competition is your mindset. Not only do you look great, you know what's very sexy that not a lot of people think about is being a great listener, right? Reading books because you're trying to improve yourself. Finding something that you're really passionate about and being really passionate about it. That is sexy. And if they don't find it sexy, then that person's not right for you. If you don't like the fact that I like Pokemon, fuck off. Okay? But if you're okay with it, then it's cool. And when I say fuck off, I'm not like upset. I'm just like, no, then maybe I'm just not the right person for you. And that's okay. Especially Mitchell's friends. Dating. I would date. Okay, Sarah, I'm gonna let him know. But anyways, yeah, nobody cares whether so if you're let me see, shit, I'm getting distracted. So self-help isn't okay, so self-help isn't looking for another person for answers, and it isn't just about posting a few quotes, right? And if you're not sure what to do, you have to figure it out on your own. The people that's offering you good advice, the way your mindset works, yeah, it's great, but you still have to put in the work yourself. All right. So if your health, your physical health isn't where you want it to be, and you can change it, then you should probably do something about it. whether it's eating a little bit better, maybe drinking those green smoothies, or you know, maybe don't have McDonald's at 11 p.m. Whatever it is, because Mitchell has that sometimes, and that's okay. Spacing. Anyways, I want to talk about my third slide, which is you got to create your own opportunities, right? Work harder on yourself than you do your job. So, what does that mean? It means that when you are working, what are you doing to learn? One of the six basic human needs is for variety. We need that in our life. We can't have the same thing over and over and over because it's going to get boring. It's going to get dull. We're not going to find enjoyment in that. And so that's why I was like, you got to have variety. And for guys, you got to always court your lady once a week. Take her out. You got to do something. And if you don't, some other man will. So you got to be careful with that too at the same time. Now, I want to talk about the security. The only security that you ever have is within yourself. You're not going to get it from a job. Even if you're in a union, you can still get fired. It's just a little bit more difficult, right? The only person that you're with, the person that you're with, they might not always be there, but you will always be there for yourself. And there's this quote where it sounds morbid, but I mean, hear me out. A man is born alone and dies alone. So that means that everything that you do is going to be by yourself. But now here's the good thing. You're not a tree, Jim Rohn. You're not a tree, so do something. But if you invest into yourself, fill in that knowledge gap, build, and you bring more value to the marketplace, and you grow your reserve of knowledge, people will pay you for that. People will want to be around you because not only are you great company, you have a knowledge and you can fix some problems. And also, people won't pay you for what you deserve. People will only pay you for what you negotiate. Let's see what's everyone saying over here. Lysol, because a sinus were killing me. Yeah, I'm not. Is it afraid to single them out? Okay, the relationship based on OCD, cleanliness, personal hygienes. Oh, okay, it's toxic. I get it. Farting. Sarah, please don't quit your day job. Good one. A whole bunch of nothing. Okay, what am I missing? Maybe I missed something earlier. Maybe I missed something. I like this chat. You guys are vibing today. Okay. So have a clear vision of what you guys want. Yeah, I missed a lot. But fill me in. Okay, so have a clear vision of what you want and what you want to pursue. Have a clear vision, because if you don't know what you want, no one's gonna find that for you. That's why you gotta do a lot of trial and error. You have to listen to your own mind. And not a lot of people enjoy being around themselves. Not a lot of people. I love being around myself. And yo, JR, thank you for your kind donation. I read that book in a day, even though I fell asleep. And I woke back up and I finished it. But sometimes my vision gets blurred. What do you mean by that? Is it that you're uncertain for that vision that you have? Or is it more like you're having self-doubt? Because if you have a vision, you know where you want to go, you're going to get there. It's just that how you get there, it might be cloudy along the way. But just like the weather, it changes, right? So it's okay to not have a perfect vision. You just know where you want to be. So where I want to be is I want to be able to speak to people in a way where, hey, you know what? I feel like giving up, kind of apathetic, right? I feel like giving up. No one likes me, yada, yada, yada. How can I improve myself? Well, the fact that you're willing and you're here and you're listening, it means that you're a step ahead than a lot of other motherfuckers that's not. That being said, it means that you're going to make some changes depending on your attitude towards life. So it's your behaviors. Like self-doubt, life itself, with all the twists and turns, I guess. Sarah, enjoy swimming, blow bubbles in the water. Oh, um, when to let go. I was cracking up about that earlier. Thanks, Aisha. So self doubt. So it's an illusion. Fear is an illusion created by your mind, and that's there to save you because just think about the times where we didn't have internet and we weren't even born yet, right? It's there to save us so that we could live a little bit longer. So we don't know if there's a tiger or a lion out there. But now, bye, Sarah. Have fun. Thank you for being on. Appreciate you. But all right, let's go back to what I was saying earlier. It's a self defense mechanism for yourself. So if you could stay away from it, then you're like, cool. I'm good. I am good. I don't need this. But you're really, you're putting this obstacle in front of you. You're creating this illusion in your mind where there's this self doubt, negative self talk, and then if you constantly find yourself there, you're going to feel comfortable speaking to yourself in that sense. Now, there's a lot of things that we could say to ourselves that we would never in a million years let another person say to us. But yet, we are our worst critics. We could say certain things to ourselves. Now, also another thing is what you say expands. What you think about expands. What you fear is going to expand. But when you look fear in the face and be like, you know what, I might not get it now, and it's going to take me some time, and I'm patient, I know I will get out of that. And when self-doubt does come up, and it will, just like in a relationship, it's not gonna be rainbows all the time and happy, right? You're going to have some tough times. And when that does happen, you know how to approach it. Because inaction breeds fear and doubt. Taking action breeds confidence and courage. So if you're consistently finding yourself, hey, you know what? I'm having this negative self-talk right now. Have a good relationship with that. Have a good relationship with your negative self-talk. Hey, look, it happens. It's our nature to think about the what ifs, but I'm not gonna let that what if stop me from this track. So if my vision is not that clear right now, it's okay. I know that maybe right now I'm not feeling the best, but it's okay. Eventually I will, because why? I eventually always find a way out. I always find a solution. I always find a solution. So it's something that you got to practice, and just like a muscle, your brain, you have to work it. It's you gotta have that discipline, so that you could take yourself out of that mindset. So, but it doesn't mean ignore it. I'd never tell people to ignore your feelings. Oh, you jealous? Don't be jealous. Like, no. Why are you jealous? Why? Oh, it's insecurities. Oh, okay. Well, oh, it happened to you in the past, and that's why you are a little bit more protective. Okay. Oh, you're a Virgo, you're a Leo, you're a Gemini, like whatever, right? Whatever reasons you make for yourself, it doesn't matter. Find out the reason why. And if you find out the reason why you're jealous or why you're fearful, then you're giving yourself a solution to look forward to solve that problem. But if you just give reasons to as to why, oh, it's Wednesday or Saturday, and this is what's gonna happen, that's how it always is, then you already accepted it. So don't feel bad for yourself for accepting it, because you knew about it. Especially when you're aware and you don't do anything about it, that's literally one of the worst things that you could do. Oh, I know. Okay, so why don't you do anything about it? Yeah. Because when you're aware and you know it and you don't do anything, it means that you're unwilling, you're unmotivated. That's what you are. It's not that you don't want to do it. You don't have any courage because you're lacking confidence. It's because you haven't done it enough. It's like, yeah, during COVID time, even though it's still COVID, I gained some weight. Okay. But I knew that I could get back into how I feel my greatest, at least for myself. I know it because I've done it. I've been there. Now, if you never done it before, you wouldn't know. So you're not gonna have a lot of confidence, and that competence is like you're unsure. So obviously, any little blurred vision, cloud setting in, it's going to deviate you from your main purpose, your tracks, or your aim. And be careful listening to that, because what you listen to, whatever you pour into your mental factory, that's the ingredients and the fabric of your economics, financial, personal life. All right, moving on. Have a clear vision of what you want. Okay, learn how to be happy. And I love this quote by Jim Rohn. Learn how to be happy with what you have while pursue all that you want. Learn to be happy with what you got. That's it. What do you have? Are you happy with it? Are you content? Now, what do you want? What do you want more? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to become? And who you become is more important than what you get. So, because look, at the end of the day, nobody wants to be around someone that's always miserable, that treats them bad. I don't care if you're the richest person in the world. I'd much rather be around someone that could treat me like a person, rather than, oh, I got money, I could treat you like this because I'm better than you. It's like, nah, like, man, keep that energy to yourself. I don't need to be around your ass. I really don't. Because why? I'm already happy with what I got. And if I don't have it, let me make it myself. Let me go get it myself. Okay? So, my vision, at least, and you guys already know it, is I want to help people. I want to be able to provide these information, this blueprint, so that they could take it with them and be like, hey, wow, this helped me. And if it did, you might share it with a friend of yours or whatever it is. I might write a book. Who knows? But I want to be able to make a difference in other people's lives, because it's what you bring to the market, right? That's usually what people are willing to be, they're going to pay for eventually. But a lot of this, it's free. That is something very, very special to know, to be able to know what you want and the opportunity and going for it. Exactly. It's the mindset. So I also want to talk about this, and this is a hard pill to swallow, and not a lot of people are willing to swallow this pill. All right, we're not that special. We're not. No one's that special. I accepted it. It's okay. I'm not that special. You're not that special. And I'm not saying it to hurt your feelings. Just accept the fact that you're not that special. And when people make you feel special, great. Accept it for what it is. Celebrate it, But at the end of the day, you're not that special. No one is that special. You might give meaning to it to make it a little more special at that time, but no one's that special, okay? But here's the great thing about yourself. Like I say, you're not a tree. And if you're willing to work on yourself, another person that sees that will always want to be able to help you, right? Now, but a great Jim Rohn, he also said, we all love helping someone who's willing to help themselves. And the last thing you ever want to do is to help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. Or if you help them and they depend on you for that help, there is a difference. And if they're unsure, they can ask questions, but not constantly come to you and be dependent on you. You're not their mommy, you're not their dad, so you got to help yourself. And you can complain as much as you want. No one is coming to save you, okay? And I got this information from Julian himself, so you guys could check him out on YouTube. But if you think about it, the reason why I say that is no one's that special, and we're not that special, is because do you lose sleep over every homeless person that you see? The answer is no. At least I don't. Okay? Now, do you feel bad for them in a moment? Yeah, you do. You're like, damn, like, feeling some sympathy. You're feeling a little empathetic. Hey, you know what? Maybe let me get them a meal. I'll buy them a meal. But are you going to think about them constantly? Most likely not. So, you're not that special and nobody cares. Just, you got to learn to accept that. And after a while, this is what happens. If you constantly think about certain things like, oh, there's this little Jimmy, little Jimmy always needs help, right? After a while, little Jimmy is going to be labeled as that person, like, oh, that's just Jimmy. It's just, yeah, he's always upset. That's fine. Let him be. Oh, that's just Jimmy, right? And you don't even want to be around that person because they're drawing you down. Maybe in a moment you're like, yeah, I'm willing to help, but after a while you're just gonna be like, you're not even trying. So what's the point of me trying to put in my effort? So, like I said, that's why people that post positive quotes and all that. Have a good night. Great talk today. IJR, have a good night, man. Appreciate you. Positive, all these positive quotes, even listening to this. No amount of seminars, books you read, courses that you could take online, podcasts or whatever is going to save you if you're not willing to put in the time and effort on your own. Like, that's just something that you have to do on your own. It's a different time where JR is at. But yeah, so you're not just understand that no one's that special. I'm not that special, and as long as you can understand that, you're gonna be in a much better place, because then you're not trying to seek for that validation. Like, I need to be special so that other people will validate me so I can feel better about myself, and I gotta constantly search it. Because the reason why is once you think about that, happiness is now a moving target. You constantly trying to find happiness into another person, and if they don't give it to you, what's going to happen? You're going to feel like shit. Now, if you're already content with what you got and pursue all that you want, and you understand that, hey, look, I'm not that special, and that's okay, that's fine. And then you're going to be in a much better place. You're going to approach life much better, and you're going to be able to give a little bit more, not only to yourself but to other people. And the more that you could give to another person, the more value you could give to them. You just get more in return. It's just and that's why I always think about how karma works. It's like, oh, if you do something nice, I used to think like, oh, if you do this nice thing for them, then it will return. And yeah, to some degree it does, but then, like, if you're doing it with the intention and it doesn't return, well, guess what? You're gonna be upset. You're gonna be like, what's the point of doing this? And it's like, no, you're already setting yourself up for failure. And so that's why I was like, look, put your ego to the side, do what you gotta do. There's no shortcuts. You gotta be patient about it, and you just gotta continue to work on that. And all great things take time. All great things take time. And so if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and not take shortcuts, you're going to be somewhere. You're going to be somewhere, whether it's your physical health, right? Maybe it's a certain way that you want to look, or maybe it's a certain amount of money that you want to have so that maybe you could buy a house or whatever, right? If you already don't own a house. But just know that you're not going to be happy if happiness is from another person or another thing. Oh, once I get my girlfriend, once I find that hobby or whatever, then I'll be happy. It's like, no, you're not. It's not going to happen. I've been there, okay? I've been there. You're not going to be happy. Happiness comes from yourself first. Then you're able to share that happiness and completeness with the other person. So, whoever you are already inside, let's just use this for example, right? Like, whatever's in here, that's you. Whoever you meet only amplifies what you are. So if you're in a shitty place and in a shitty mood, it's only going to amplify. Maybe not then. And the reason why is because maybe the excitement, you're excited to be around them, something new in your life. But after a while, things get a little bit more comfortable. You get a little complacent. Who you already are inside, it's only going to amplify. But now, if you're already good inside, you're going to share a lot of greater, happier things with the other person. And you start viewing things differently. And you're like, even though this is a shitty thing, well, guess what? I understand that the fact that, look, you could have easily taken it in a whole different route. You could have exploded. You got mad at me. You could have yelled at me, but you didn't, right? Now imagine coming home to a guy or your girlfriend, and even though he or she is in a shitty mood, that they're still willing to give whatever they can to you. They're willing to set their feelings aside so that they can hear you out, to understand where you're at. And not only can you gauge because you never know what another person's going through. And that's something that I learned from from someone that taught me a lot, right? They inspired me. But I couldn't be there or where I am at now if I didn't do the work, even though they inspired me as much as I have been inspired. Nope, it doesn't work that way. A person is only adding to the happiness and not the source. I'm I'm assuming that you're referring to the happiness being that moving target, but yeah, like there, it's only gonna amplify who you already are. So be careful. Be careful what you put in here, because what you put in here, you're gonna put it back out there. Okay, so find yourself in a place. If you want more people to be around you more, then being in a better mood will put you in a better place. And then if you're finding yourself constantly always talking about negative things and they relate very well to it, then that also means that they're just as miserable, if not worse, than you. And misery loves company. Misery loves company. People will always find a reason. People that finds reason to be upset will always find themselves being upset. Do you want to be around that? And if you don't, then you have to be there first and be that person that I'm willing to give. I'm not just going to wait for somebody to give me something good in order for me to return that. You got to do it first. So share what you got. And if they don't reciprocate, withdraw it back. It's kind of like a deal or whatever, right? Terms and conditions. So if you're in a relationship and you still really want to be with that person, but that person does not want to be with you and they unilaterally chose to not be with you, there's different routes that you could take. I would suggest don't be upset about it. Just be like, okay, well, if you're unilaterally trying to change the term of our relationship, then, and that's not what I want, I'm just gonna walk away from that table, right? It's a negotiating table, right? That's what you want. That's not what I want. I'm out. Call me if you change your mind, and that's it, right? And just they know that you're not gonna always be there, and that you're it's difficult to find somebody that has that type of mindset. You're scarce, so you're already separating yourself from the rest of the competition. Jackie, appreciate you, man. Thank you. You're gonna attract what you put out in the world. I agree with you. Yeah. And not a lot of people think about that. They only think about like the materialistic things, like, oh, this is what I got. This, and I have friends that literally buy things for their significant others so that they don't be upset. It's like, no, if you could buy love, that's cheap love. That's cheap love. That's not, because you're dependent on what you already own. And I'm not saying that money is not valuable. It's a great resource to do things that makes you happy. But if money is dependent on that and it's not yourself, then you're not really secure on your own. And you as a person, they're not gonna be, especially your lady, she's not gonna be able to rely on you when shit hits the fan. She's not gonna be like, oh, I have this man at home, and when things doesn't go his way, he's not gonna get mad. Like, she's gonna be like, oh fuck, I gotta prepare myself on going home because all he does is complain like a bitch, and so I gotta be a bitch, right? Yeah. So yeah, you get what you put out. So be careful what you put out. And like I said, it's when you finally find time for yourself and you love and value yourself, you no longer give your time away to other people that don't appreciate you, and you reserve it for yourself, because you're like, well, this energy that I have, I'm happy being alone, but why would I share something that I don't enjoy, especially if it's gonna bring me down? Like, what's the point of doing this? So I'd rather be alone. And then unless they learn on themselves and they start asking you or seek help somewhere else, you're not gonna try to share your time and energy with that person. So yeah, still going back, we're not that special, right? So if you want to have it, you got to go for it. You must take action. All the seminars, online courses, none of that's gonna work if you don't put in the time for yourself. You got to do what you got to do, because no matter what you do, somebody will always have some shit to say. somebody. Okay. Um, Using money as a cover up, that only means that you don't know a real love. Yeah, love is about giving, and it's giving without expectations. It's unconditional. You're not expecting anything in return, but also you just also want to see if they at least reciprocate. Do they appreciate what you do and what you're offering? Because if all you do is trying to do something nice and they don't reciprocate that, then you're like, I'm gonna put my energy somewhere else where somebody else is going to appreciate this. And that's why, I get questions about these nice guys that's always trying to do nice things for people. It's like they're people pleasing because in reality they want some validation somewhere. And it's like, well, if I give you this, that means that you should be giving me something back. And they set aside these type of expectations that does not get fulfilled, and then eventually they get disappointed. So what happens? And then you find yourself constantly being upset because it's like, oh, okay, they're not reciprocating. Well, if you gave something out and they don't reciprocate, then just pull back, withdraw your offer, and that's okay. So that one already happened, being upset about it doesn't make any difference, and you're not going to really solve any problems. Yeah, it's a two-way street, right? It has to be a two-way street. So, but that's why I was like, the only security you could ever have is within yourself. It's your own confidence and believing in your own thing. Knowing that, look, if I get fired from this job or whatever, and I need another job just to sustain myself, whatever it is that you need to do, I know people will want me. Reason why is, and you're not gonna say this, but you can say it to yourself. I'm the shit. I'm the fucking shit. All right, ain't nobody don't want me. It's just, do I want to be around them? And it's the type of mindset that you kind of want to have without being overly cocky. It's knowing that you are of value. Why wouldn't they want to be around you? I'm the most irresistible option that they got. And if they don't see it and they don't value that, then you're shopping in the wrong place. That's it. All right, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Someone will always have something to say. Now, especially there was this time where I just wanted to eat plants. Okay, I was vegan or plant-based for a while. Well, not a while. I did it for a year, and all I heard from meat eaters was, "Mitchell, why are you doing? Like, what's the point?" And I was like, "Look, I feel better. I don't like my joints don't hurt. I feel alive. I'm skinny, but I don't want to be bulky and buff. I just want to be who I am." And to me, that was okay. And if I choose to want to be more bulky, I'm going to do that. But in the meantime, you should, appreciate what. So no matter what I did, no matter how healthy I felt, they had something to say. When I started eating meat again, oh, you going back to your own shit? Yeah. Well, okay. Well, you know what? You're obviously not somebody I want to be around with too much. If all you're going to do is talk shit about every little thing that I do. Now, what I do realize is it's a self-reflection of who they are. No one will ever do or say anything that isn't a reflection of how they feel about themselves. How is everything you say so relevant to me? I'm speaking to you, bro. But it's a self-reflection to how they feel about themselves. So if they feeling about this about themselves, because they react, we're emotional creatures. We buy things, we place value into things, and we buy things based off our emotions. And we use logic and reasoning as to why we buy it. We use logic and reasoning. Why did you buy, or why did you get with that person? Why did you buy that phone? Why an iPhone and not a Samsung or an Android? You have your reasons. You have your reasons. Do you have to explain it to me? No, you don't. But you have your reasons. I like Android more. Okay? That's it. I just like the way it looks, the way it holds in my hand. Whatever it is, you have your reasons. And you use logic and reasoning to try to explain it, okay? Now, if you're a guy and you're watching this, and you try to logic and you reason your way into her liking you a little bit more, or to prove a point, you're not going to win. Because if you win, you're only going to lose eventually. Because if she doesn't feel anything for you, she's not going to be around you. And if she doesn't want to be around you, she obviously doesn't respect you. And no woman could love a person she don't respect. She's not going to sleep with a person she don't respect. And if she does sleep with you, do you really want to have that pity sex? Do you really want that pity sex? And if what you're seeking for is just sex and you're a guy and that's all you want, then it's no different than just having a hooker. Okay? They just might be a little bit cleaner. I'm just going to say it. But if you want somebody to have a connection with, right? There's no greater feeling than to be with somebody and do those intimate things and having a great connection with them. Darlene, you said when you're doing good or doing bad, someone will always have something to say. I take it with a grain of salt. And now I do understand to some extent where if they're important in your life, you're going to place more value into what they say. But I also put a lot of value into what I think about. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong and I learn from that. But then that's when then I'm more reliant on myself. I'm self-reliant in that sense where I don't need your validation to do what I want to do. Why do you dance like that? Well, because my feet moves like that. But if you want to encourage me, you would is this how you talk to people? Is this how you approach people? Being an asshole? Or do you really want me to learn? And if you really want me to learn, why are you so upset? Is it because you can't do it? Or because you could do it? Because you never see successful people talk down on to another successful person that isn't and they want you to succeed. And one thing I love about this quote is success is never crowded along the extra mile. Just most people give up way too quick. And I know that this journey that I have, at least even for myself, it's going to be a long time. But what I do enjoy is the fact that, look, I love this. I love doing this, and it's fun. It's entertaining for me. It's fulfilling. I get to help people, and if you benefit from this, even better. And the reason why I know is because when I was playing video games, right, that was my first real, true passion that I really had, and I didn't know I was gonna be good. I just continued doing it. Why? Because there was great people, the company was good, the game was really nice and fun, and it was competitive, so it was challenging for me. And little by little, I was that nobody, in that sense. I was a nobody, but people accepted me for who I was, and we had a great time. We have some weird photos. It was funny. But then little by little, it's like things started ramping up. And we started making a difference because I enjoyed what I do and I continue to do it because I love doing it. And somewhere out there, as long as you're consistent, now there are tips and tricks that you can do, but nothing beats consistency. Nothing beats consistency. And if you do it well enough, somebody will acknowledge you for that. So, what I'm trying to say is, just because you don't get the recognition right there and then, it doesn't mean give up. It means that, hey, you know what? Maybe something you're doing is a little bit different. But be careful what kind of energy, where you putting your energy at, because if you're putting the energy on, I need more likes and views and all this, then hey, you know what? What happens when you don't get it, or when you get that spike and then it doesn't, and you don't get that again, right? So, like I said, then that happiness is being placed at a different place, and it's a moving target. So, let's see. You gotta do. Somebody will always have something to say. Now this is for the more pickup community, right? I know guys out there that are very successful with women, but they act like slobs and animals, right? And they get what they want, right? Which is maybe the guy just wants to sleep with her, and that's all he wants. But if one of the greatest pickup artists in the world had to rewrite a book about how he fucked up, his name is Neil Strauss, all right? And he wrote the game, and then after the game, I think 15 years later, he wrote another book called The Truth. Basically, it's he fucked up. He was like, I finally met someone that I truly love, and I did some things that I fucked up on. And life is a little bit more than just sleeping around. Even though he had fun, all those fun was temporary. those temporary fun that he placed a lot of value in, did not compare to what he valued most, with it, which was his beautiful wife that wife or girlfriend that he cheated on, and they're no longer together. So he had to learn from that mistake. So if that greatest pickup artist is telling you this, what does it mean for a regular person? Okay, like, what do you really seek for? Are you seeking for something that's more personal, or are you just looking for that this hot younger girl, whatever it is that you want? Okay, so, but what I would say to that is, it's better than doing nothing. Okay, charming your way in is great because at least you're doing something. But like I said, charm and your character, they work together very well. But having just charm is like scamming your way into another person's heart without really showing who you really are, or actually never really being aware of it. So that's why they work hand in hand, but just having one isn't enough. um but like I said, I hope this helps you. And I what I my biggest thing that I want to say is that I this help that this advice I'm giving you is great advice, but I don't want this to be conditioning you to think that this is help from me. Like, you got to help yourself. And that's my final message for the show today is, you have to participate in your own rescue. You have to do things for yourself. This blueprint for you is great, and I hope it does help you, but don't be reliant on somebody else to help you. And with that being said, I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you all for listening. All the responses, I saw that everybody was talking within themselves. I love the community that you guys are building, right? It's always a safe place over here. I don't mess with people that puts someone down. Luckily, none of that has ever happened, but if it does, you're gonna get removed. All right. So, thank you. I'm going to eat some boiling crab later today. So it's Mitchell's little cheat day. So Shevlin, Darlene, Jackie, you're still here. Um, who else? I know JR is asleep. But yeah, thank you all. I'll see you guys on the next live. All right. Peace. Thank you. Thank you, Shevlin.